Hi, friends. Welcome back to Red Gate Ranch Homestead. We're in the kitchen today, and I've got a project that I bet you'd like to follow along with. So, we're going to make sauerkraut two different ways. We're going to can it, and we're going to ferment it. And we're going to take along our handy dandy farmer's almanac so that we're making sure that our ferment is done during the right sign so that we have the best product possible. So come along and I'll explain exactly how to do this so that you can have some delicious sauerkraut to share with your family. Okay, you can take out some of the larger outer leaves and we'll save that to put over the top of our fermented version of our sauerkraut. So we can go ahead and do that. That one looks a little too flawed. This should be enough to put over our fermented. When you're cutting your cabbage, you want to be sure to cut out the core. You can put that in the compost pile, or you can feed it to the chickens. Well, we were talking about the Farmer's Almanac and how it helps guide us to have the best fermented product. And I have mine here. And what happens is, if you'll check the calendar and the zodiac sign that's associated with that particular day of the month, it will be very helpful to you. So I marked the page here so that I could show you that it shows the sign, the zodiac signs associated with the different parts of the body. Well, when you're fermenting, you want to make sure that you're fermenting when the signs are at the heart or above. At the head, it is ideal. So once you find out which sign you're looking at, you can go over to the calendar. I don't know if you can see this or not, but the months are listed across the top here on this gray bar. And then the days of the month are listed down on this side. So we're looking at January, and today is the 27th, and that says that the signs are in Aries. So this is a perfect time for us to try to do a ferment. And I just wanted to explain that to you. Also, ladies, if you're having that time of the month, you cannot do fermenting. It will spoil. So that's an old wives' tale. I've stuck by it, never tested it, but I hope that you'll take the advice and listen and have the best product that you can. Also, do you like my new apron? It says I'm a country girl. This is a shout out to Nick and to Bree, my neighbors. They gifted this to me for Christmas, and I was so excited, and I just love it. So thank you, Bree and Nick, for the lovely apron. I love it. Well, now that we have all the cabbage shredded in the sterilized jars, and we're going to fill the jars up to just below the neck. You don't want to cram it in the jars. You want to be able to debubble it. So Just going to tamp this down just lightly. Put just a little bit more in there. Oh, this is going to be so delicious. Now, once we have it in the jars, we're going to fill it up with hot water, and then we're going to put it in the water bath canner. But you have to wait 4 weeks before you open it up for it to really taste like sauerkraut. You see, I'm not really smashing that down. I'm just kind of pressing it lightly to just below the neckline here. And this recipe was inspired by Miss Lori at Whippoorwill Holler. And she has a YouTube channel, and she has a lot of knowledge for canning and preserving. So I recommend that you go to her channel and check her out sometime. She's really in the know. Now we're going to add 1 teaspoon of canning salt. Let me show you what that looks like. You could use kosher salt, but this works very well. And we're going to put 1 teaspoon of canning salt in the top of each of these quarts. Next, we're going to put 1 teaspoon of sugar in each jar. Then the last thing we do is we add 1 teaspoon of white vinegar to each jar. Now we're going to fill up each one of these jars with hot spring water. You don't want to use chlorinated water because the chlorine is not good for this type of product, but we're just going to fill that up. And see, when you pour the water in, it dissolves all of that salt and sugar, and it takes that vinegar all the way to the bottom of the jar. Now we're going to debubble. Just go down the sides and get all the bubbles out. The next step is to take vinegar and wipe the rims of your jars. Okay, now we're ready to put on the lids. Remember, you're just going to put these rings on fingertip tight. And now we're ready to put them in the water bath. And we're going to water bath them for 20 minutes. The next thing we're going to do is fermenting. And we have 5 pounds of shredded cabbage here, and we're just simply going to put that into our clean container that the fermenting is going to take place in. I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of canning salt. I'm going to put about half of that here. Then put the rest of our cabbage in. We'll put the rest of the salt. And we're going to let this sit for about 30 minutes. And we're going to allow that salt to draw out the natural moisture of the cabbage. And then once that has happened, we'll come back and I'll show you what we do next. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes. So we're going to try to press some of the liquid out of the cabbage with this muddler. Can you see the, let me bring you a little closer. Can you see the liquid? It takes a little work, but your work will be rewarded. Okay, see if you can see this. See all the liquid? That's what we're looking for. If you have difficulty getting the liquid out of your cabbage, then what you can do is use 1 cup of spring water with 2 teaspoons of canning salt. And you can put that in here to increase the amount of brine. But I think I'm going to be okay here. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to use those cabbage leaves that we pulled off of the cabbage earlier. And this is what we're going to use to keep the cabbage submerged in that brine. Now, you can use a lot of different things to weigh this down so that the cabbage stays submerged in your brine. You could use a plate and maybe a heavy can, like a large can of tomatoes or something like that. But what I use a double Ziploc bag filled with water, and this will mold itself so that it will keep that cabbage submerged. Now all we have to do is cover this, and I just use a tea towel to go over it, and then a rubber band. You could use twine, and that would work too. And then I'm going to put this over in the corner in the kitchen in a warm place. It needs about 70, 72 degrees. It's a little cool. It's January, so I'm going to put it near my stove, and we'll let this sit for about 21 days, 14 to 21 days. And we'll check on it, and then we'll have some fermented sauerkraut. Can't wait! Woohoo! Well, here we are, and look what we've accomplished. We've got some canned sauerkraut that we'll try in 4 weeks. And then we also have the fermented sauerkraut, which we will try in 14 to 21 days to see how that's coming along. And just for fun, I made a small batch with a ball fermenting kit. I found these on Amazon, and it's just a little spring with a flat part, and you put that on top of your sauerkraut, your coleslaw, and you just press it down. And I also put the little cabbage leaf on top just to make sure that our shredded sauerkraut stayed submerged. I can't wait to try this. It's going to be wonderful. So we'll come back in a few weeks and let you see how it turned out. And I'll see you next time here at Red Gate Ranch Homestead.